evening, everyone. Welcome back to 2S Assetto Corsa Competizione. It is the 10th season with the 5th round, and we are here in sunny Spain at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, and we have got a grid of 21 drivers ready to take on this racetrack, and we have also got two commentators to guide you through it, and that is, of course, as always, myself, Timo, and alongside me, George. How are you doing?
Not bad. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for the introduction, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Barcelona, as Timo says. And yeah, we're back for another 60 minutes of action. After four rounds, I think 4 rounds of pretty controversial endings, racing, and overall a lot of action. Expect more of the same, even at a track like this, where overtaking is a bit more of a premium.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel free enough to say it. Last race was a little bit rough. You could say it was Donington Park. The conditions were changeable, and loads of drivers got loads of things wrong, and there was a lot of carnage. I think Veldman was the only one not involved in an incident the entire race, and in a way, you know, that kind of paid dividends, because after the FIA verdict of last week, he does win that race because, of course, Dominic Illinger, an incident that only you caught, I didn't. He did murder a back marker on a lap attempt. He dove one lapped car and went straight into the other. So he got his win taken away with a time penalty. Veldman wins it, and that makes it 3 out of 4 wins for Veldman, and also 3 out of 4 wins determined by the FIA in the stewards' room. Let's hope that does not follow this pattern this time. We are here at a track that is, as far as I am aware, very, very good for the Audi. But we do not have an Audi on top right now. The top driver is Lewis Zelch, only 5 thousandths ahead of one of the aforementioned Audis, ahead of Dominic Illinger.
Of course, going back to what was a pretty action-packed race back at Donington Park, I think Sam also got a relatively hefty time penalty after the race for an incident with Zelch as well. So that's demoted him. So with that and Dom's win being taken away, Veldman is looking pretty comfortable at the top of the standings. He's got a 30-point gap right now. Of course, it is 50 for a win, I believe.
Yes. You're correct.
So that can, of course, change quickly. But in a season where he has been quite consistent so far, it's safe to say that that is a gap he will be happy to have.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how he's just running away this year. I mean, last season was hard fought. I'm not saying this isn't, but he has won 3 out of 4 Illinger closest rival, and it's looking really good. It just feels like the closest competitors are just lacking some pace. Might also be down to the Audi, who has which has had a good string of tracks. Calami, Donington, and now this one, I think, are all good for that car, so maybe that's also a factor. But of course, he's also beaten his teammates, so I can't really complain about that.
Yeah, Veldman's had a great season no matter what, and of course the Audi is meant to be good here, but if you look at the top 6, split by just under a tenth and a half, there is a decent mix of cars in there. An Aston Martin, BMW, 2 Audis and 2 Mercedes means, you know, it's not quite as black and white as we perhaps thought it would be. Of course, Zelch and the Mercedes on top right now, with Bailey Thompson in P3. It's actually Dom goes to the top, just pipping Zelch by half a tenth.
Yeah.
That kind of ruins what I was saying, but still, it's a good split, and yeah, that's what Illinger needs to do at this point.
Yeah, speaking of a good split, we might be able to see someone break up the order up front there with Sam. Well, he is on the verge of improving, but I think he's had a poor last sector, so he might not. Okay, he goes third. I think he had some more time in that, but it is P3 after all, and now he's got one more lap to try and improve a last time. The number 17 is off. That is Antoine Olivet, so he is going to start from P16. Disappointingly for him, or even worse. No, actually, I guess the guys behind probably not gonna beat him. They are in the pit lane. Martin,
It's very... Sorry. No, I was going to say it's very, very tight at the top right now, of course. But I think most drivers are starting their final laps. I know Zolch is on his last. I think Feldman can sneak in a second, and I believe Illigna can too. But yeah, we're getting to the sharp end of this session, and yeah, those times, there's not really not much between the drivers.
Yep. What I was gonna say, Martin Müller has just gone into the pit lane. It's nice to see him in P6 and so close to the front, because I think, well, he's been really strong in past seasons, and the last races he has kind of been invisible, and so seeing him up front, kind of nice. Bailey Thompson resets into the pit lane. He settles for P4 there, and that is of course unless someone else manages to beat him. Veltman comes across to start his final run with 30 seconds to go. So that is the state of affairs right now. Lewis Zelch just entered last sector. We're going to keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, crucially, Thompson is into the pit lane, so the P4 man isn't going to be improving.
Yeah, Illigna. Oh, Zelch! What was that? He just turned out of the corner. As if he hit the sausage curb like it was a wall. That looked really weird. But yeah, okay, so Zelch is not improving. Sam just comes across, he's still third. And Veldman, is he on a charge?
No, he is actually. He's still out on track. Sorry, Sam has just reset back to the pits, so he's not getting another lap in. I think Veldman's the only one still pushing in the top 5.
Yep, Tommy Azelen also in P7. He is behind his teammate, and he has started the season really strong, and then some things went wrong, especially in qualifying. It was good. Right now, just 7th, and he breaks up that train. We've got the top 6 within 0.2 of a second, and then there is double that to Tommy Azelen, who is ahead of Faragnola. Is not able. Well, he is able to improve, but does not go up a position. 7th for him. And Savitskas and Bailey are still going. Savitskas on an in-lap though, so he is out of it. Betch is not doing anything, so it's just Aiden Bailey and Nico Veldman who are still on runs, and Veldman is up a 10th or 2. It is really close, so he needs to get out of the slow section well, go onto the final straight. Everyone's been predicting he gets pole because it is an Audi track, but does he actually convert it? He does not. It is P4 for him, and Dominic Illigna takes pole position. Ready to bounce back after what happened to him, or well, rather what he made happen to someone else in Donington Park, and that is your starting order. What a close session! I am really excited for this race. I'm really curious to see who's going to stack up how. Wait, we're not done yet. Aiden Bailey comes across, but no improvement there. Silver class, Jack Mills takes pole.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievably tight session. Only a second split in the top 15, which even through silver class, that's impressive to have. I think Veldman, I don't think he'll be very happy with P4. Looking at the delta, at least on my screen, he was up for pole, but in sector 3 is a little bit messy, not quite as good as his previous time. So yeah, I think he's got more pace than P4, but when gaps are so close, and when it's 10th and a quarter between the top 5, moving forwards isn't going to be that easy, even though we've got an hour to go.
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder if things might go to his head a little bit. I think he complained a little bit about the narrative that was going on, Audi OP and people saying that he'll just he'll just go for pole. It puts a lot of pressure on you, the expectations. I wonder how he deals with it. I'm not really aware, but we've got Illigna on pole, which is good. I've watched him struggle to overtake Ruben for 40 minutes straight here, so it's good that he's on pole. Ahead of Lewis Zelch in the Mercedes, who was, I wouldn't call sandbagging, but he was lowering everyone's expectations towards him throughout the week. He still is on the front row, ahead of Sam Chumley, 2-time champion in P3, then reigning champion Nico Veldman in 4th. Bailey Thompson is 5th, and he beats Martin Müller, who is finally showing up in the top 6 again. That is interesting. He also outqualified his teammate Tommy Azelen, looking to bounce back after poor run of results and a strong start to the season. Federico Varagnolo, usually solid in qualifying, and then, I don't know, something happens in the race, he disappears or something. Chevinsky, our resident murder victim every single week. Jack Mills, P2 last time in class. He's got pole, maybe he can do it this time. Then Jakowski is 11th. a little bit further down than usually. Savitska second in class in P12 overall, ahead of Aiden Bailey, whose livery I will still not speak about because I don't have nice things to say. Chris Stricker is in P14, ahead of Ben Loos, silver class. Antoine Oliver's qualifying has not really gone well, and he starts ahead of Ryan Noah, who's 17th. Then we've got Marvin Betch in P18, and P19 is Andrew Moulton, P20 is Ryan Noppen, and last, as always, Jurien Visser.
Yeah, no surprises there at the back. Yeah, the rest of the grid, I think the most interesting talking points would be Mills on silver class pole. He's got Diakovsky behind him to split him from the other silver runners. But yeah, he showed some good pace last week at Donington Park. I think ended the race P4 in class, which to be honest was, I think, pretty unrepresentative of the drive he actually had. Yeah, so I think he'll be an interesting one to watch, and seeing how that silver class fight develops will be equally as intriguing.
Because someone in chat says never knew sausage was a term in racing, this is a sausage curb. They are designed to make you not go over that part of the track, and they're also designed to break people's spines, apparently, because that's what they keep doing. However, now you know. The more you know. Let's go Ben and Aiden. We've got the support in chat for them. Oh, is this stream laggy? Oh no, I hope not. It's not saying anything in my OBS. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it, but don't really know what I would do about that.
Yeah, quickly on the curbs that you mentioned. Barcelona is actually a track with some, on the whole, I guess, less aggressive curbs, but they do like their sausage curves in Sector 3, and being able to attack the curves full stop is actually quite an important thing around here. Looking at turn 1 and 2 specifically, being able to ride those curves on the inside is really important, because yeah, they can spin you very easily if you're not careful.
Yep.
And of course, track limits. Track limits is definitely a bit of an issue here. Going through the, I think, turn 9, the sweeping right-hander in the middle sector for the back straight. That often catches people out. And so yeah, just being able to keep it consistent and to play the long game will be important today. Yeah, a bit like Donington, I guess. The more you can avoid being in incidents, the more you can keep it on the road, the better you should end up. And of course, that's a bit more more accentuated at this track.
We did see, I'm pretty sure, 2 qualifying runs from front-end drivers being ruined by those sausage curbs you mentioned in Sector 3. I think Zelch got hit one too hard and then gave up on his lap. And Veld also entered the last sector with 2 tenths up, as you said, and then something happened there, and I feel like maybe he got it a little bit wrong in the curbs, and that's how he dropped time. So that is certainly something to look out for. What I'm wondering, though, there's always talks about certain cars being good at munching the sausage curbs, as we say. It's a very technical term. I know the BMW is supposed to be good riding the curbs, I think, but how are the Audi and the Mercedes? Do you have any idea? Or no?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that the BMW should be the better car in that sense, but the technical corners really play into the hands of the Audi. That said, we've obviously got quite a split pack, so there doesn't seem to be some kind of crazy advantage right now, but yeah, as the grid forms before lights out, I think we'll have to find out the answer.
Yeah, so the Audi isn't better at taking the curbs, it's just better at taking the corners where the curbs happen to be, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, and we will see if that plays to the advantage of Ilignay. I think he's going to have a doable job of defending this, because Sector 3 needs to be close, and that is where the Audi shines, so maybe Zelch is not gonna be close enough on the main straight, but he is on the main straight right now, and he's certainly close, so maybe off the start he can jump Ilignay. It is the Mercedes on the right that gets the nose ahead at the start, so I think Ilignay has just lost out on his pole right away, but he will have the inside into turn 1. Now Zelch is gonna squeeze him a little bit. Ilignay is coming back at him. I think his straight line speed is a little bit better. We got a big crash already. There's Tommy Haslam, and he bounces back onto the track, so we've got massive carnage there, and in the back, well, Zelch is, I think, ahead of Illigner, who loses a position at the start again, as he always does. Oh, he puts his nose there, and he should not do that. Then we've got Bailey in third, Chumley in fourth, Veldman loses a place to fifth, and I think we have to go for a replay because something terrible happened at the start. Where is Azalin? I can't, oh no, man. That is absolutely tragic. Where is... Oh my god. I hate this. Okay, replay. Let's see if we can... Oh, it's lagging. Oh, this is only the back end of it. That is shocking, but who do we see? That is one of the Charleroi airport cars. It is, I think, Betch, and two others I can't identify. I think Varagnolo is one of them, so somehow we still can't drive in a straight line. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened with the carnage in the background, but the top 5 fight was really, really good coming to the first couple of corners. Sam just punted Bailey around, and he's got collected as well. Both of them are around.
No, that is terrible. Now he is... Oh, and he gets front-ended by Ben Lewis. We're going for a replay of that right away because we were still stuck in the other replay. So let's see, we are in the replay now. It is Sam Chumley in P4 against Bailey Thompson in P3, and... Oh, he just kills him. There's nothing really to say, and then Bailey goes on the accelerator, tags the rear of Chumley. I mean, that's the only good thing you can say about that the guy who caused it takes most, well, damage from that, but still, that is not great at all. The thing that changes now is that we have got Nico Veldman back in P3, and Bailey drops behind Müller.
Yeah, a bit of a shame, honestly, taking 2 cars out of the top 5 fight. But I'm sure, as you say, the likes of Müller won't be complaining too much up to P4 now. That's definitely on to be his best finish of the season. Whilst, yeah, I think in the silver class fight, Mills has kept his lead despite all of that. Up 3 places as well, up to P7 from P10. And, yeah, I think the front's looking a bit more strung out now, removing 2 cars and Veldman having to put on the brakes a bit to avoid. It's kind of left Selch and Igna in a little bit of a fight of their own right now.
Yeah, definitely credit to Mills. I'm still waiting for the day where he stops doing the Mills no moment. Last week was really good. He finished P2, but as he pointed out himself, there were a few moments in this race, or in that race, where he just needed to not make the mistake and he would have won in a class. So we're still waiting for that, but maybe today can be the day Aiden Bailey is in P10, and there is a bit of a buffer of cars between Jack Mills and Aiden Bailey. So silver class, the fight is on, and Jack has got, well, he's got it in his hands right now.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's kind of keeping up with Diakovsky right now. But he does have Chavinsky and Stricker on his tail. Actually, Stricker kind of setting up Chavinsky for that P8 position. Yeah, he's got a bit of breathing room right now, so he's looking good. A little bit further ahead, and Thompson is right back on the pace. He's in the slipstream of Müller right now, as we head down to turn 1. We have a look up the inside. He doesn't stick into the outside line instead, just biding his time. But I'm sure a move will come. Despite the damage, he seems to be quite quick right now.
Yeah, I honestly don't think he got much damage. I mean, he had, like, I think the getting spun part was very harmless on the chassis of the car, and then the only thing that might have given him something was the whack he gave Sam when he accelerated away from the place. But I think that's going to be fine. And Bailey's pace still seems to be very much competitive, and that is, of course, well, to the detriment of Martin Müller, who will have to deal with that. That is Antoine Olivet getting out of the way there. He is a blue-flagged car. Of course, we did see him getting murdered on the start-finish straight, and he's about to be lapped by his teammate.
Yeah, Olivet and Sam both rejoining the race from their pit stops.
Oh, Antoine! Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, he actually got in the way of his teammate a little bit there. That's put Chavinsky back onto his tail. Looks like those two are staying as they were for now, though. Yeah, it's kind of ironic actually that Sam's come out on track P3, just ahead of Open and behind Illigner. But speaking of Illigner, he's a lot closer to Selch at the minute. Whether a move is on the way now? I don't think so. That gap's looking a bit big down the main straight. But the Audi is looking fast right now, and he's about 10th quicker on that last lap.
Yeah, I do not trust Dom to make an overtake at Barcelona from past experience. It's just not something I expect. I remember hyping it up for about 40 minutes and then it just didn't happen. But that was for P3. Maybe he's got more, more of a drive to take it this time. It would be a race win, and it would be one that he's got coming in a way. He did, of course, win the last race of last season. He hasn't won this season yet, and the reason for that is the murder he committed last week. So, got something to compensate for, and maybe Zelch will have to deal with that. I'm confident Zelch can do it, but I was also confident Veltman could do it last week, and then he couldn't, so what do I know?
I mean, no matter what his overtaking history may or may not be, he's looking, I'd say, more comfortable than Zelch right now. Zelch, of course, has track position, which is important and goes a long way here especially. But yeah, he's been a little bit wide in a couple of corners, and yeah, just showing himself to the inside, of course not throwing a move yet. But he's definitely close to the Mercedes, and yeah, of course, Zelch a cool customer at the front. But yeah, the pressure is certainly there.
Yeah, can I'm gonna say something that is probably gonna upset Dom, but he knows I say this with appreciation as a Valtteri Bottas enjoyer. He truly is our Valtteri Bottas. He's the teammate of the champion in the arguably fastest car, and he always loses positions at the start. And I never expect him to overtake anyone. So, there you got him. It's Bottas. maybe he can overtake Lewis and do something Bottas that can't, and prove me wrong. That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, he's been very, very quick this season so far.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure the overtakes will come. So yeah.
So fun to criticize other people for not being able to overtake now that I don't race anymore. Because that was always what people said about me consistently. And
yeah,
they
we've
were
got the
right.
privileged position of being able to criticize without having to show ourselves any better. But
The thing
yeah,
is,
I
you
think,
would probably do better. I just wouldn't. That's the problem here.
well, I am an hour retired, so couldn't prove you right or wrong anyway. Yeah, back to the race at hand, and there's been some action in silver class that I've vaguely been aware of. The fight for P3 actually a little bit close between Noppen and sorry.
Mills, no!
Oh no!
He's gone. What happened? No!
I didn't even realise.
He just disconnected. I think it was. I mean, it must have been network issue, right?
I'll go and check the replay. I'll have a look.
And we've got a side-by-side moment actually for Silver Class lead. I did not think that move was on, but as Savitska seems to think it is, he is in the Ferrari there, tries to take the lead away from the Yorkshire Tea, the Yorkshire Tea sponsored McLaren there in the number 22, and the Lithuanian. Well, shows himself on the outside, was not able to pull it off, maybe now coming onto the main straight. He seems combative for sure, so into the slipstream he goes, tucked in, and he's coming closer and closer and closer, and what does he do? Does he pull to the inside? This is for the lead in silver class. Aiden Bailey decides not to defend this one, so he's gonna have to do it on the brakes. Savitskas is gonna be... Oh, he does not get his nose ahead, maybe with the run, but Bailey blocks the racing line there as Savitskas takes a wide swing. What can Marius do? He's certainly gonna carry more speed, but that is not a long run into turn 4. Not at all, so I do not think he's going to be able to do it here. Hangs it around the outside actually, but I am not confident that is going to work. Maybe with a lunge into turn 4, and he does exactly that! And he goes a little bit deep now with the cutback from the 22. They're going to run downhill towards turn 7. This is a brilliant fight going on there, but I think for now Marius has to concede. And behind them we've got Antoine, who is going to get a little bit frustrated. He's not really allowed to pass those guys since he is a lapped car, and and the others are on the lead lap. Bit of trouble there, but Silver Class is on fire, unfortunately also due to the departure of Jack Mills. Now Marius on the inside again. We saw the same thing last time, maybe he can pull it off this time. Preparing for the cutback is Aiden Bailey, but he can't do it, and Savitska's pace proves enough. He takes the lead in Silver Class. Nicely done, P9 for you, sir.
That's a really, really nice fight. More action than the overall fight for the lead. Yeah, some really smart car placement from both actually, and yeah, keeping it clean. That's of course what we want to see. But yeah, nice move at the end from Marius, but it's a nice repassing from Bailey through the first couple of corners, and yeah, very, very nicely done.
And
well, meanwhile, Muller and Thompson are side by side through turn 1 and 2.
Oh!
There's a little bit of contact at the apex, and Thompson gets through. I think he was on the inside, so yeah, a little bit of contact mid corner, but they managed to get away with that one.
Yeah, nicely done from Bailey. On a bit of a recovery, of course. You know, not the worst he's had to recover from, but still good spun round a few laps ago, and you know, he's doing well. He is within, what's that, 2 seconds of Nico Veldman. He is certainly putting the Mercedes places. You know, he's not the first Mercedes, that of course is our action race leader. But still, nice job to Bailey.
Yeah, Thompson was quick in practice and qualifying. Of course, very close to the others at the very top. So yeah, I'm interested to see if he'll be able to catch Veldman, who is kind of slipping away right now from Elena and Selch. But yeah, Muller came very close to his rear actually, and Diakowski almost joining the fight as well. But yeah, I think Thompson is...
Oh, 57, Chavinsky's gone! And we're going for a replay on that one to see what happened. So, I was thinking about him because he always has some sort of incident, but it's usually not his fault, and he just goes. What was that? He just killed himself.
I mean, he was on full throttle the whole time, and full throttling, it's still in the barrier stopped.
Maybe
So,
pedal issue?
maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. Of course, it's seen a technical issue already. It was a disconnect that caused Mills' retirement, which is the most Mills thing possible.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is a real shame for him.
Yeah, the universe just realized he wasn't gonna bottle it, so the universe decided, fine, I'll do it myself, and disconnected him. Pulled the plug on his raceman hopes.
Yeah, it's not an easy racing life for Mills.
Yeah, it's, you know, step one of dealing with emotional pain is gaslight yourself into believing the universe is just testing you. That's what Mills has to do now. Maybe he believes it, you know. Maybe he can deal with it that way. That's why his racing career is a little bit shaky right now. Universe is testing him.
Yeah, I mean, it is a... He's been quick these last couple of races, so it is a real shame that he's lost out in pretty unfortunate circumstances. Yeah, I mean, that's of course promoted Savitska and Bailey to the top 2, and yeah, they're putting on a good show right now. I think they are kind of spread out right now. Yeah, Visser now onto the back of Bailey, so expect a pass from the qualifying last king. He's actually got a decent run coming down the back straight. Bailey went a little bit wide. Will he send it? No. Making the smarter decision there and not going for the big dive bomb. And of course, Bailey showed himself as a solid defender and a driver with some good car placement skills before, so it might not be straightforward for Visser at all. Of course, he's kept his nose clean so far, so I guess that's all he really needs to do, and he should keep moving.
Yep.
Yeah, both hitting the curb actually, but through the final chicane, Visser will be nicely into the slipstream, but he didn't really get an ideal run coming out of the final corner. But he is gaining, catching, and will Bailey defend it? Doesn't look like he will, so yeah, Visser's to the inside. He should be able to get this one done nice and cleanly on the brakes.
Yep, the Audi with the slipstream goes a little bit deep there. That's going to be a bad line out of turn 2, and Bailey's not able to set himself up for the counterattack, which means Visser gets to keep that place. That is, I mean, that's just the thing that happens a lot in GT3 racing. That was actually what I was getting upset at a lot in Donington, where in the same situation when someone would, you know, take the inside line for an overtake, they would obviously be slow at the apex, and we had it happen like 4 or 5 times, and the other guy just accelerated to past the apex and crashed. Bailey did not do that. He was aware of the situation, does not cause a contact, and that is very nice to see. Though, I mean, you know, all the credit is nice, but he still lost the position.
Yeah, well, on the topic of silver class, the fight for P3 is still on right now. That's between Noppen and Renoa. That's for P11 actually overall. Noppen's been kind of on the Audi's tail for the last few laps, and hasn't been able to make the move yet. But he's definitely looming, and yeah, the Aston Martin, of course, a solid car pretty much everywhere. So with a comfortable machine, he should be. No, I mean, as I say that, he does go off track. Yeah, either way, they're pretty close, and yeah, that's probably the next point of action in this race.
Yeah, also shout out to Vance in chat. He is hyping up his men. Well, not really hyping them up, he's just pointing out how objectively good looking Christian Stricker and Nico Feldman are. So yeah, fully agreed there. Enjoy the UK, I guess, if that is possible.
Yeah, on the note of Stricker, actually, he's up 7 places from the start. I think he was P14 in quali, and he was amongst the silver class drivers,
yeah,
as was Oliver actually. So yeah, he's made a lot of good progress so far, and he's kind of in no man's land right now with gaps between Diakowski and Vizcas behind. But don't really need to move. P7 looking good.
Listen, Antoine's race might have gone to shit before he drove one corner, but he's still in P16, which is also where he started. So, you know.
Very true.
It's
Nothing
fine. He did also warn us, or me, that he would retire, or that we should expect an early retirement out of him because he's got some issues with his peripherals. But so far, he's not had an issue with his peripherals. He's had an issue with the other drivers on the track.
Yeah, he's not really managed to get a clean race in so far. I remember him making contact with Van der Helling, so it was a yellow flag for number 9. Oh, that was actually for P3 in silver. That's Renault.
That Timo pointing out the obvious. That is not good. Drops to 4th. Noppen passes him there. And yeah, so silver class, kind of a 2-horse race now. Well, Savickas is pretty fast, to be honest. Bailey is dropping away from him, and then there's a 7-second gap to Noppen, 10 seconds to Renault, and then Malton and Lewis. So, well, Lewis not really his own fault. He went straight into Chumley in turn 10 after he was spun. So there was not really much he could do about that. That's unfortunate. He did win last week after a long and very painful fight against Jack Mills. So now Renault in the pit lane. 41 minutes to go. A bit early to go for the pit stop. I would expect the guys to start coming in what's it, like 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, strategy's been an interesting point actually, because there's been quite a mix of stopping early and taking the tyres a lot longer. I mean, when I was racing originally, you'd want to stop in 3 or 4 minutes usually, but that's not really the case anymore. You can go to the halfway point and well past it, which is certainly interesting. So we might see some kind of strategic plays at the top. Of course, Ligner and Zelch kind of stagnant right now. Zelch did manage to pull out a gap earlier on, so they can fastest lap in the process. But yeah, they're about 8 tenths apart and have been for a while, so nothing going yet for Ligner.
Yeah, I wonder if he can have a second wind after it stops, maybe. Could be interesting. I wonder how he keeps losing one position at the start. Always exactly one. He normally starts P2 and then drops to 3rd. I think it's happened the last 3 races. Oh, Zelch just made a mistake. Yeah, Zelch just made a massive mistake, and he cuts across the track, and that is a chance for Ligner, and he just goes for it, and that is well, you can't afford to make those kinds of mistakes if the pressure is coming from the Audi. And I wonder how things are going to go now with that change of lead, because they seemed in a little bit of an equilibrium when it came to pace, but now with Illigner leading the charge, maybe he can build a gap, maybe Zelch just reacts with the pit stop, I mean, there could be reason for it. He just completely hit the sausage curbs, and that does mess with your tire pressures. Yeah, that shakes up things massively. Apart from it, of course, giving us a different race leader.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. I'm just in the replay trying to see what he did, because I think he did just hit the sausage curb. That little, yeah, it went directly under his car. So I assume that Mercedes was running a bit low, and yeah, that really just kind of made the car bounce. I know the sausage curbs is well done from Illigna to not hit him. Honestly, had to put the brakes on mid corner. But yeah, a bit of a quite an uncharacteristic error from Zelch to do that on his own.
Kalami. He did do that.
Actually, did he spin on his own in Donington?
I don't remember, but he had something happen to him.
I think he might have. I'm
Yeah.
going to retract that statement, but
Yeah.
I would still say on the whole, he's a pretty consistent driver. Of course, with esports experience is not the kind of thing I would necessarily expect, but I'm sure he's going to be looking to get straight back on the pace. We showed it earlier, but if he is equal to Illigna right now, then that's played right into the hand of Illigna, because if Zelch can't come back and make a move, then that has basically handed him all the options he needs right now.
Yep. I wonder, I wonder what would happen if Zelch had driven the last races in an Audi. Of course, he did spin a few times, but that can also, come down to car dynamics. I don't know, it's hard to say, because he is an absolutely great driver, but he is in a car that does not suit him that much yet, from what I hear. And also, I don't know, the Mercedes I don't think does quite as well as the Audi on the tracks we've been visiting. But there is still 3 races after this one. I don't want to, look too much into the future, because this race is not even at the halfway point, but still, maybe... Wait, where's the calendar? Maybe you could give a little bit of perspective. We're going to Imola, Watkins Glen, Spa. Is that still Audi town, or is that gonna come back to the BMWs and Mercedes a little bit more?
I honestly have no idea.
That is fine.
So I'm glad I could be helpful, but
I have less of
yeah,
an idea. So
I guess we'll just see when practice comes around. There's a lot of chat in the ACC channels this week actually about pace and quality times, race times, fuel loads, all of that. So the competition is wide open, and there's definitely a lot of competition off the track as well as on it, which is quite interesting to watch from afar.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the main thing I noticed, I don't religiously read the chat, I just sometimes skim it. And the things I've taken away, I've said earlier, which is that I think especially Zelt was saying that the Audi was just gonna win and Veldman had it in the bag and stuff, and yeah. We don't know if he actually believed that or if that's psychological warfare. As of now, I mean, he is behind an Audi, but he would have been able to stay ahead, I think, had he not made that mistake. So, tough to say, and also tough to say what is real and what is just trash talk in chat.
Yeah, kind of difficult to read into that kind of stuff all the time, but what we can say is that he's quick, and yeah, he's doing a good job. A little bit behind those guys, and Diakovsky right now is he's got Sam in front of him. He is currently in his way in the fight between Muller and himself. He wants him to dispatch of the laps BMW now. Of course, a bit of a weird position for Sam to be in, I guess. Yes, Sam moving away down the back straight. But yeah, he was a bit closer to Muller before. Whether the lap car has had any impact, I don't know. But I think those two are probably the closest to, apart from the leaders as well. But yeah, Muller having a good race right now.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking how many points can Sam still take away from this, because it's not looking too good championship wise. It just feels like a little bit of a Veldman show. Sam is 53 points adrift, and now he's gonna. Well, where's it gonna come out? I don't really have. Oh, something happened.
Sorry, yeah, Zelch just made an exact same mistake as the other lap. Hit the inside curbs into the sausage curbs, and went for a bit of a bounce, and yeah, that's dropped him almost a second again behind Illigna.
That is of course not good if if you keep making the same mistake. But it does happen easily, and at least, well, that's a little bit of copium from me there, but at least he does not seem to be scared of the corner after making a mistake. Oftentimes when I make a mistake once, after that I just drop half a second in pace because I drive scared then, and I don't attack the sausage curbs anymore, or the track limits and stuff. So, you know, it's not good that he made the mistake twice, but, you know, at least he's not driving scared. You could say that.
Yeah, it's an interesting corner for that kind of thing, because it does always feel like there's a certain bit of luck as to getting the right line and, you know, how much curb you take, because it will give you more rotation. But yeah, I'm just looking at the replay, and that is literally the exact same mistake, curb under the car, and yeah, it does not like that at all. Whether that's Mercedes specific, I don't really know. But oh, actually, sorry, not Velden, Elena into the pits.
Oh, so he's not giving anyone the chance to undercut him now. Of course, for his sake, you're gonna hope that he did not speed in the pit lane, and that he's gonna get a good pit stop, because that could, of course, be another chance of Zelch to retake that lead and this time hold it. So yeah, Iligna needs to be very, very careful there, and Zelch will push as hard as he can to attempt to get ahead. Also, I don't know where he's gonna come out, but it could play a role for Iligna. Maybe he comes up behind someone, though I think he might be clear. Maybe he comes out around where Ranoa is right now, I'm not sure. But I think he'll have clear, so that is good. That is good for him.
Oh, Bailey's just thrown it off the road.
Oh, the 22? Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, out of the silver class fine.
That is
He's...
Aiden Bailey straight into the wall. We're going for a replay to see what happened there. He's just straight on, or?
I think he got some oversteer on entry and overcorrected. Just headed out.
Yeah, that looked like suicide to me. I'm not sure.
I'll have another look, but where is he on my screen? I can't find him. But he just dropped behind Visser actually, out of the... Sorry, just jumped Visser out of the pits. So, of course, we saw Visser making a move down the main straight previously, but he would have had to have made that move again. But, yeah, Bailey seemingly out of this one. Oh no, I think you're right, that does look like suicide. He did get some kind of... He did make some kind of mistake on entry, but, yeah, that's a bit of road rage, I guess you could say.
And maybe he got fed up with some characteristic of the car or something, and I know he's going again. Please don't go into anyone's way. Azalin's passing him, and now Iligna's coming. Iligna, by the way, I don't know if he rejoined ahead of Moulton or behind him, but maybe he had to pass Moulton, and in that case, he would have lost loads of time probably. I think the same thing happened with the same two drivers with Kalami, and did not end too well there. So that could play right into Zelch's hands. The fight for this race win is far from over. I do not expect Zelch to be one to give up easily, and he's still got 31 minutes to reclaim the lead, and there's 31 minutes for Iligna to make a mistake. Tension is high. Can he get his first win of the season after what happened last time, or is it going to be a Zelch victory, or, I don't know, does something crazy happen and we get a fourth Veldman win? I don't know. Veldman is in the pits though, so we'll see where he is in relationship to the others very soon. Now Iligna aggressively flashing Aiden Bailey, and that is completely correct that he does that. He gets held up for a second time in a row. Bad experience with a backmarker for Dom, but that was not his fault at all. Aiden just didn't move, and that is massive because the gap was 2 seconds earlier, and now that could have just come down by at least a second from what we've seen there. And I really hope the backmarkers didn't decide this one, but it stays interesting. Lewis Zelch is not doing insanely quick laps, but he's certainly not slow either. And yeah, wonder how long he can stay out.
Yeah, whether or not that incident, as well as anything to do with Morton before, whether anything did happen there, that could well have cost him enough time to at least put Zelch near him, because that gap was about 2 seconds. I'm not sure how, you know, if those incidents could have lost him quite that much, but it's not what he needs, and it definitely puts a bit more pressure onto you as a driver, because you know that that's cost you time, and you can't really get a gauge as to how much. So whilst the other guy's still, you know, half a lap ahead of you because he's not pitted yet, it definitely plays on your mind.
Absolutely, and it is so easy to get frustrated in the car, and when you drive frustrated you might do some dumb stuff, and he needs to make sure that does not happen to him. He needs to show some mental resilience there. Interesting to see what will happen. Though of course that is not what we want to see. And I just wonder what happened to Aiden, because he was what's that, second in class behind Savitskas, and then he just drives off straight, goes AFK for a minute, and then comes back. Maybe he really had something in real life, like, I don't know, thunderstorm, and he has to close the windows or something like that. I have no idea what else it could be.
And maybe maybe the doorbell went, I don't know, but
yeah,
he was having a good race up until then, and yeah, he's been driving very well, so I'm not sure why that's happened, but yeah, we've had Thompson to the pits as well. He's almost about 3 seconds behind Feldman. Stricker another 14 seconds or so behind. But yeah, Zelch still out on track, putting in a 44.5 last time around. About 8/10 off his PB. How much he'll gain out of the pits, I'm not sure. But looking at Illigna, he did a 43.8 last time. So that's, you know, that's a big delta.
Yeah, so Zelch is bleeding time right now. And I do not think he will have track position after this, no matter how bad the back markers were for Dom. So it's really what is happening is just that Zelch is probably setting himself up for a challenge in the second stint, or they're running different tire strategies. But I think you tried to get that idea out of my head last week, that people would not take tires. So probably everyone's gonna do the same, I imagine. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think, judging by the gap between Zelch's times and Illigna's times, they will have taken new tyres, because I don't see a gap like that would have appeared without that. Meanwhile, Feldman has some issues with traffic, Morton really blocking him through the middle sector, and that would have cost him a significant amount of time. He did a 45.3 last time around, so that's 1.5 seconds off of Illigna. Obviously I can't guarantee they'll be lapping similarly, but it definitely lost him some time. He had to go side by side through the head.
Oh, Jakovsky!
Oh, Jakovsky.
Yeah. That is really annoying. I don't know how that happens. He just exits the pit lane. Well, you cut a corner there, but in any case, there's a drive-through, so he will have to go through that same pit lane again right away, or rather in the next 3 laps, and he will lose, what's that, like 30 seconds doing it? Pretty shocking. Can't make that sort of mistake. Now we see Moulton get out the way by driving off the racing line in turn 5. Bailey gets the position, and that is actually for position. There's no blue flags involved in here, so
that will be why he didn't get out of the way of Boldman. Sorry, I take the criticism back. It was for position, so technically he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, he actually was a little bit nicer than you have to be, but for Thompson specifically, so or he just okay, he slowed down a lot in that corner. I thought he was gonna just retire or something, but maybe my perspective is wrong. Also, his car is called Timo the Roof, and I remember it being something that was not on the roof or something, so I'm not gonna bother. I'm sorry.
Back to Tiakovsky on that drive-through. That will have been for speeding the pit lane, I imagine, because those penalties do get awarded at the end rather than the start.
Nah, but that's a stop-go 30, pretty sure, unless they change that.
Oh, you might be right.
I'm definitely right about pit lane penalties. I get them.
That's a good point.
That's why I'm confused.
I'll go back. I'll go and check his replay. See if he did anything interesting or out of the ordinary. No, he gets the drive-through coming at the exit of the pit lane, so I don't know if that penalty is track specific, maybe, with swaps. I don't really know. But I mean, either way, that's completely ruined his race, and that's put the pressure off of, I think, who did he fight with? Muller. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really close to Muller though, about a second between them before the stops. So, yeah, played into his hands very nicely, and I guess kind of consolidates what was about P4 on track, I believe.
And it is a Zelch pit stop on this lap, so 24 minutes to go. That's what he intends to be the time frame for his final run, so to speak, his final attempt at the race win. Now, we are not sure what's happening. Illigna has had plenty of traffic right now, right behind. Wait, who's that? That is Müller. Wait. Oh, yeah. It is Müller, so he's getting held there. That could play into Zelch's hands. But still, I think Illigna should have the race lead there. Now Zelch is moving, but yeah, here comes Illigna. He's got the position, though his car is going to be noticeably slower, I would assume, with the tire wear. I don't know if it's enough, though. I would give Illigna the advantage, especially because he's got track position. Yeah, I think Zelch has actually gone a little bit astray with that strategy. It's, what's that, like 5 seconds, I would say, just from looking at it.
His car was about 4 on my screen with the Delta, which is about double what it was before the pits. So, yeah, the traffic that affected it clearly hasn't really mattered that much, because the time that he gained on fresh tyres has, you know, completely eliminated that and gained him time.
Yeah, and speaking of the traffic affecting Illigna, I did misspeak there. That is Tommy Azalin, but he has the MUL initials in his windscreen for some reason, so I thought he was his teammate. But it is Azalin who held Illigna for a little bit, and that could add to Illigna's frustration, because it isn't the first time this race someone with a blue flag has not really moved out of the way adequately. But, you know, he's passed, he's got the gap to Zelch, 4.2. I think he's just about alright right now.
I've just had a DM from Chavinsky, who we saw retire earlier on. He said it's his game that froze, so whereas we thought it could be hardware related because he was stuck on the power, that was actually just because this game froze. So rather than disconnecting, it just froze, and so therefore his inputs stayed.
Yeah, which is super spooky actually. Pretty glad he didn't kill anyone in the process. That wouldn't have been nice at all for anyone to experience. But yeah, in that sense, we're kind of lucky we only lost Vito in that. Though of course that is pretty bad. I was on the same lap that happened. I was about to mention something like, and Vito's still going. He has not been spun or anything yet. So nice race for him. Maybe he can get some points, and then that happens. So I don't know. Is it a commentator's curse if it's just something I wanted to say, or does that not count?
Right, there's the fight coming out of the pits between Stricker and Muller. Muller's just come out of the pits and has got Stricker directly behind him on warm tyres. So I'm not sure what's happened to Muller, because I thought he was going to come out a lot higher than he has. So I'm not sure if he's had an incident with someone or what's happened there, but he's certainly dropped.
Yeah, you make a good point. I'm certainly of the opinion that he did stay out too long and those tyres were pretty slow at the end of it, but he was certainly closer than 15 seconds to Bailey Thompson in P4. And yeah, something must have occurred there. The thing we know is that Chris is on course for challenging for P5, and that is pretty exciting. He's had a little bit of a rough time lately, and he has also not qualified too well. He was 14th, so him fighting for P5 is a nice sight for sure.
Yeah, of course, that comeback from P14 on the grid. He's had a very nice race so far.
And an overtake from Diakowski here is that is for P9 against the server class driver Ryan Oppen, who makes a mistake but also does not need to be too angry with himself. That of course, the way our points work, he does not lose a position in class for conceding. That he will still be second in class with Savitska's leading as of now.
Yep, Diakowski, of course, trying to come back from that drive-through penalty that he earned himself. The gap ahead to Visser at about 7 seconds. And yeah, I mean, Visser also had a very nice race so far, up to P8 from the very back. It's impressive he kept his nose clean off that start accident, honestly. But yeah, P8 not looking too bad, but he might get caught by Diakovsky. Not sure what the pace deficit is right now, but as Visser comes across the line, which I'll look at his time, he's done a 45.8. Diakovsky, with an overtake on this lap, is going to come across the line and do a 44.6. So 1.2 seconds plus an overtake. I imagine Diakovsky will be closing that gap in pretty fast.
Yeah, I wonder one thing about this. I mean, I kind of know why he does this. The no qualifying thing. It's sort of a thing of not wanting to have the pressure of needing to show up and stuff. But I feel every race for him kind of goes the same. He just starts at the back, tries to avoid incidents, and then as he's making his way through the field gets so strung out while he's stuck behind people he's clearly faster than, and then at some point, as soon as he's past everyone he's clearly faster than, he just drives half an hour in a hole of 16 seconds when no one is, and that just kind of, is the rest of his race. I don't know, I mean, he's not me, so he might not be bored by that, but I would certainly like a little bit more excitement. And as a commentator, I'd also appreciate more excitement from him in the sense that I just want to know what he can do if he actually qualifies.
Yeah, he often ends up in no man's land, as you say, kind of between the silver drivers and the kind of upper bracket of the pro drivers, which is kind of not representative, I think, of where he should be. But I mean, it's working for him, I guess. He's getting decent amounts of points.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he's showing up every week, so he's probably having fun.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely been one of the more consistent drivers. Coming through the pack, you might expect him to get into some incidents. But yeah, he drives pretty precise races, and yeah, always does make progress.
For sure. That is something to say. Also, up front, we have not really checked in with those guys, and the last thing we said, I believe, was that Zelch would be faster due to the state of his tires, and that is true. At the moment, last time was a 43.395, and Ilgner was a 43.777. That means, well, 3 and a bit tenths on that last lap. I think if you compare it on this lap, it's going to be, 2 tenths? So Zelch is closing, but he will arrive pretty late, and, well, if he arrives at all, which I'm still doubting a little bit, but if he arrives, then he still needs to make that overtake in, 1 or 2 laps, and that'll be a lot of pressure on his shoulders. If he makes one more mistake, like the one he's showed us twice already, he's probably done for when it comes to that for this race. So there is a lot of pressure here. Seems to handle it decently well, but on that last lap, that wasn't good enough.
Yeah, not catching at an amount fast enough to get onto the tail of Ilgner, and of course, as you say, even if he does, he's got to get past, and that is not the easiest thing to do around here. He does have the fastest lap of the race though, currently sitting at 43.395. Ilgner, meanwhile, is on a 43.647, so about 2.5 tenths between them on their fastest laps. Yeah, Zelch had that purple lap earlier on, and yeah, improving that to keep his crown.
Yeah, he's pushing hard, I think. Yeah, I think I just saw his rear go around a little bit there at the bottom of the hill, but did not lose him time, so he knows what he's doing, and he did also gain some time on Ilgner on that lap. Ilgner himself lapping Andrew Moulton there, who is on course for a silver class podium.
He is indeed, with Renoir and Bailey both having their own issues. That's put them both off the podium. So yeah, Moulton doing a shot to BP3, which I think would be his best finish this season in class. Of course, I mistook him for a last car earlier, so I'd like to apologise again for that. But yeah, he's having a good race, and yeah, I think his best previously this season is P4 in class, and that came last time around. So yeah, this will be his first class podium of the year.
Yep, and It is Bailey actually. Bailey is actually threatening Veld here. Veld seems to be a little bit off it today. We've seen this earlier this season already in race 2. That was the Nürburgring, where he just finished 7th, and here seems to be off the pace as well. Could drop off of the podium, and that would be big for a potential title race. Sam, of course, in P11 not going to recover many points, but Zelcher Illigner seems set to win this race. So if Vel drops to P4, that could be an advantage of like 20, or a gain of 20 points for Illigner or Zelch, and that's pretty big. The gap in total is, I think, 30 for Illigner and well, a good bit more for Zelch. So if Illigner wins, Veltman finishes 4th, that's big for the title race.
Yeah, with so many points on offer for a win, it does mean that the championship can swing so quickly. And so, yeah, Veltman, he's losing out quite heavily to Bailey, lap time wise, but being able to pass is, as we keep saying, a complete normal thing. Yeah, he does need to keep this one, I think, for his comfort at the top of the standings.
Yeah, and I would classify this as a track where overtaking is possible but tough. I wouldn't say it's impossible like at Alton Park, Brands Hatch or something. I would actually just say overtaking is not possible. But here you can do it, but it's really tough, and especially if you are driving a Mercedes and you are following an Audi through the third sector there, just being close, not really easy. As soon as the other guy makes a mistake though, it starts being possible.
Yeah, of course, got the nice long straight, which plays into the hands in this case of Bailey. The Audi is quite quick in a straight line, but yeah, with a big old bit of slipstream, and if you do mess up the exit, then that will all play straight into the hands of Torsen. So still looking quicker of the pair right now, and yeah, definitely close, but not close enough to make anything happen just yet.
Yeah, so that is something we will follow until the end of this race, I'm pretty sure. Also Louis Zelch is probably going to follow Dominic Illigner until the end of this race, but yeah, on the last lap he did gain another 4/10. He is closing, but it's not consistent, and I don't think it is enough at the current rate to close up by the end of the race. And well, even if it isn't, that's still a really good drive, dragging the Mercedes to P2 there, close to the Audi at Catalonia. But he wants that race win, I'm pretty sure, and maybe he can do something. Maybe there's gonna be a mistake out of Illigner, but as it stands, I would just expect them to be the favourite to win this race.
Yeah, I mean, there was a half-second deficit between the two on the last lap, that in Zelch's favour, of course, and there was a little mistake from Illigner on this lap. Just the hairpin, he went a little bit wide, and yeah, that means the gap this time was again about half a second. So if he can keep that up, then it will be enough to get to his tail, I think, at least.
Yep.
But you know, whether you can keep that up, I'm not sure. And as the tyres fade on that Mercedes, then his pace advantage might not be so great. So can't put it all down to the tyres, but considering the later stop, it may well be playing a decent role in this change of pace.
Yeah, for sure. That might be a first crack in the armor showing from Dom here. He did make that mistake, and now it's 2.5 seconds. He needs to keep it up. Also, Bailey super close to Nico, and we did not see the overtake, but Alexander Diakowski has been able to surpass. Who's that? Visser. Oh, Bailey.
Right, yeah, Bailey very nearly took out Bourbon there. Considering he is faster, he does just kind of need to, I guess, wait for his moment and just make it stick when he gets there. But we know Bourbon has some solid defensive skills. He of course kept Illigner behind for so long at Kyle Army and proved himself throughout the season. But he's just gone wide through the fast right hand, and that's given Thompson a run down the back straight. Bourbon hugging the inside line, and Bailey having a look to the outside.
Maybe he can carry some
back. Yeah, Bourbon though blocking it quite well, which meant Thompson can kind of come back through at the same pace, but he's very, very close. And so if he can get a good exit out of the last chicane, then we may well see a pass.
Yeah, let's run on board with Bailey there. Maybe we can see some differences between the cars. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if that was a car difference, but it feels like, yeah, Veltman is just able to go that much faster. I don't know if it's down to driver skill or car here, maybe a combination of the two. But yeah, that is what I've been getting at all the way. Also with Zelch and Illigna, it's tough for Mercedes to pass an Audi here because the part setting you up for the main overtaking opportunity is just such a disadvantage for your car.
Yeah, the gap equaled back out again between Bowden and... So not Bowden, between Illigna and Zelch that time around. That's pretty equal.
Yeah, 2.5. Again, we're back to not enough. Last lap from Zelch was the same as Illigna's lap, but I think Illigna's actually the consistent one, and Zelch is fluctuating quite a bit. He jumps between 43.5 and 43.9, like something in between. He does every lap, while Illigna I think just does 43.9 every lap. So he is slower, but he's consistent. And now, oh, that was a mistake, and that could also be a warning if you don't want to get too many of those. Especially, there's a bug on this track. I don't know if it still is there, and it's also pretty avoidable. But if you run deep in turn 10, I don't know why you would, but you get 2 warnings for some reason. I remember that because it happened to me in season 1, and it happened to me, I don't know, a few seasons later still. So I don't think they ever patched that out. But technically, if you extend turn 10 and you are really, really clumsy about it, you could just get an instant drive-through if you're not careful. And now...
Sure. Sorry, no, I was just going to say that, kind of reiterate your point that track limits are definitely an issue here.
No, another episode of can the Mercedes stick to the Audi? And this time the answer is yes, because the Lamborghini of Andrew Moulton was not willing to give way at all. He now pulls to the inside, and this is as close as Bailey gets, I think. Down the main straight in the Angry Chicken car, trademark. But it's not, I don't think he's fast enough. The Audi on the straight line, just really, really good, and he needs a mistake out of Veltman, I believe, at this point, because even if Moulton blocks and Bailey does not get the move. Now that was a pretty bad run from Nico Veltman though into turn 3. Bailey, can he get the late apex and maybe a lunge on the brakes into 4? No. I'm a bit too hopeful for this, I think, but it keeps happening.
Yeah, despite the helping hand that Bailey got, he just couldn't get it done coming out of the chicane. Of course, Veltman lost the time on entry. Veltman actually goes a little bit wide there. But yeah, Veltman lost the time on entry, which meant that his exit wasn't compromised. So that is ultimately where the Audi is best. So yeah, that didn't play into Thompson's hands at all. But Veltman a little bit wide again through the S, and Bailey's right was tail once again. Getting a bit of a better run out of turn 9 and down the back straight, but he's not really close enough unless he's going to have a really audacious lunge. Veltman just showing himself on the inside to defend, and yeah, nothing going yet again. But Aslan, as that car is up next, so there is a possibility that he could play a helping hand in this. Of course, the next lap car actually is Antoine Olivier, who's somehow P12. Of course, P11 ahead.
Wait, never mind. I thought Antoine was 2 laps behind Sam, but that's not the case. And this is really close from Bailey. He's losing loads of time due to following Veltman, and I think this time it could be it. Veltman agrees with me because he pulls to the inside to defend this. It might not be enough, that there's a little bit of space on the inside, but Bailey gonna attempt to do it on the brakes, and I think he just gets his nose ahead, but he is gonna have to go the long way into turn 2. It's gonna be the inside. Bailey gets deflected by the curb a little bit, and they make a bit of contact. Veltman not able to keep his place down now on the inside line. Bailey blocking the way. Veltman trying to somehow slip beneath the Mercedes, and he does not do it, so Bailey gets on the podium, and oh my god, Veltman! That was close. I think he just almost killed him there, but we're fine in the end, still down to 4th for our championship leader, and the gap, that's just lost him 6 points, and that could be huge.
Yeah, Veltman doing all he can there to defend, but Bailey on the brakes, so much more speed that he was able to take into turn 1. Yeah, swooping around the outside, little bit of side-to-side contact, but once again, no harm done, and yeah, ultimately that was a very nice move from Thompson.
Yep. And up front, the gap 1.4 seconds right now. We've just seen an AMG being able to pass a fast forward racing Audi. Question is, do we get to see it again? If I had to bet on it, I would probably say no, but I wouldn't rule it out. It just seems like the insane pace advantage that Zelch had in some laps doesn't translate to the majority of laps, and that's not gonna be enough. Last lap Dom gained a 10th again, and then there's going to be another lap where he loses 5/10. It's all a little bit inconsistent here, but I think you need the consistency to challenge for the win. So barring a pretty big mistake, Zelch likely going to miss out.
But the issue is more mistakes than lap time from Zelch, because he's been like 4/10 or so quicker. He was on to be 4/10 quicker again that lap, but he made an error in that last chicane, just hit the inside curb. That kind of sent him bouncing then to the outside curb where he bounced again. So not ideal, and yeah, those curbs really are kind of his arch nemesis at the minute, but he seems to be getting back in the groove. And yeah, the gap only 1.3 seconds, but only 4 minutes left.
Yeah, from Kamsa that carries some solid speed. Both of them feeling the pressure. I've got the deltas. They're both down 2/10 on their respective laps, but the best lap time from Zelch is the fastest lap of the race. So that means he is faster right now, but now comes the third sector, and that is usually where the time is lost, I would imagine. And yeah, let's check it out. How far can the Audi go? We enter the sector with a gap of 1.3. That looked really tidy from Lewis. Out of the final corner. Was it enough to gain some time? That's a question. Oh, across the line. Let's check out those lap times. Yes, it was enough to gain time. It's 1.1 seconds now. And I think, yeah, we've got 2 laps to go. 3:14 across the line. Enough for just about 2 laps of this race. And then Illigna would be a race winner in this season. And wouldn't it be big for him? Wait, where did he... Let me check something. We go into the archives. Yes, he did win his only other race at Barcelona last season. So it'd be 2-2 in that case. And yeah, actually, maybe I'm doing him a little bit wrong there by associating Dom at Barcelona with him getting stuck behind light or room cruiser for 40 minutes instead of associating it with him literally winning his first race. That might be a little bit rude of me, but whatever. He'll get over it. Especially if he does win this race, he'll get over it.
He's got kind of a bit of a thing for this track, a bit like Bowman does for Donington, I guess you could say. Kind of a master of that track, at least. But yeah, the gap looking pretty stable this lap. I don't know if there's a mistake from Zelch early on, but his delta's been down for a bit longer this time, as opposed to kind of slowly bleeding away down the rest of the lap. Okay, let's see what the gap will be. But yeah, I think heading on to, this will be the final lap. So ultimately this main straight is the best chance he's got. And yeah, lost about a 10th there, so I doubt anything will happen.
Yeah, this is not happening, except there is a mistake from the Audi in terms of maybe hitting a sausage curb, completely missing an apex, unbreaking himself, getting a drive through, something of the sorts. That is what is required for Louis Zelch to win his first race here in 2S. I think at this point he can't do it out of his own power anymore. Also at the back, Ben Lewis has passed Andrew Moulton, should mention that. That is for Silver Class P3, so that is a thing. But for the race win, I'm just gonna keep a close eye on Illigna to make sure he does not, screw anything up. Do a second bottle job in a row, and that is huge for his championship. He might actually be able to challenge this season. Of course, Donington Park, pretty costly mistake there. The championship would be 16 points more towards his favor now had he won that race without making them, 16 points, because he lost 8 points in the FIA verdict. Veldman gained 8 points, and that point difference it would make the championship a lot closer, and I think with this he would even be able to take the race win, but that's not how it works. The race win, the championship lead, but that's not how it works. Winning on track is sometimes not enough, especially this season, but I think we're gonna make it a 2nd out of 5 races this season where the guy crossing the line first does actually win the race, unless I turbo jinxed it and we missed a mistake. But Dominik Illigner is a 2-time Barcelona race winner, and also 2-time race winner overall. He beats Lewis Selch, who held on really, really well, outdrove that Mercedes brilliantly, but it was not quite enough. He comes home in P2, and then Bailey Thompson gets rewarded with a 3rd place, a 2nd, 3rd place of this season in 3rd, ahead of our championship leader, Nico Veldman. What? He just got a drive through in the last corner, and it gets converted into a 30-second penalty. And I don't know how big the gap is, but Müller crosses now, so he drops that place. That's down to 5th for Veldman somehow. Where's Chris? Chris comes across. There's Marius. I think he loses those 2 as well. He does. Where's Diakovsky? Now Diakovsky is too far back, but Veldman just, I don't know, something happened, and he drops to P7. That is absolutely massive, the amount of points he just lost. I think what's our gap in the title race? It's, I think, 30 points, and after this, we might be down to, I don't know, 0? That is huge. And we didn't even see it. We were riding with him, but he just picks up the drive through there. He's gonna be absolutely pissed. Maybe he's gonna try to appeal it. We don't know. Savitskis wins silver class just behind Chris Stricker in P6, then 7th Marius, 8th Jakovsky, then Visser 9th, Ryan Noppen is gonna be 10th, and Sam Chumley will come across in P11 after a disappointing race for him where he drops so many points as well, and this has just gone Illigner's way so much this race. And well, he deserves it, but he's looking real good now in the championship.
Yeah, that's a big swing for Illigner there. Such a big error left for Veldman to do that. And on the last corner, of all the ways to do it, I kind of even more of a downer on what was a relatively kind of mediocre race for him. And I guess it is a big day for the championship as well, because Sam down in P11 is hardly picking up any points, and so he was already saying after his penalty last week that that's his championship hopes slipping away.
Who did say that?
Sam.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so with P11 it's, you know, even less in his favour.
Yeah, not a nail in the coffin, but yeah. And Nico says, how did I get 2 warnings in the final corner? That makes no sense. That's happened to me before, also in that corner. Especially in that corner, that's happened before. But it is bullshit. So maybe that gets appealed. We will see about that, though. I don't think they got appealed in the past. Well, and another moment of FIA incoming, but I don't think there will be one about the race winner. That is gonna be Dominik Illigner, who comes dangerously close to the championship lead with 5 rounds to go, and they were Imola, Watkins Glen, and what's the final one? Spa. So yeah, those 3 rounds to go, and they should be good for overtaking. I think we didn't really have an overtaking track so far this season. Brands Hatch, Nürburgring, Kyalami, Donington, Barcelona, all of them. Well, overtaking is kind of possible, but it's tough. And now we've got Imola, massive straight, Watkins Glen, big slipstream fest, and Spa. We don't need to talk about the Camel Straight. So it's been action-packed already. I'm not saying there wasn't any good action, but it's gonna get even better. So make sure to check out those 3 remaining races with our title as close as ever. Be there next week on Monday. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a nice week. Goodbye.